I go by the name of Sunday Sikisi Mabasu. I'm actually right now gonna watch a video. It really caught my attention. The title says, "If I lost everything, this is how I'd start again in 2026." And I'm gonna be trying on these chips and reviewing it. And because I love chips, my wish is to have my own chips company. I don't know why, but I feel like there's always gonna be something missing. If you love something in the world, there's always gonna be something that is missing. So probably I can actually find that something that missing thing that is called um, being innovative in the business. So I'm gonna be watching this video and I'm gonna be reviewing this chips. They're called Amatrings, and the flavor is white cheddar and white cheddar, cheesy and crunchy. The significant thing about this chip is that they are not fried. I don't know what they actually did. I think they are they I don't know how they made, but let me just read here. We have created the perfect formula to make the ultimate crunchy popped corn snack by closely grounding and steaming our kernels, then putting them under some serious pressure and heat, because some things just do better under pressure. So I think they're not fried or there's no oil. They're corn chips, but they kind of really, I can say that for my understanding, you can actually find them in those kind of people that are eating vegans and they're eating vegetables, veggies, and people that are actually vegetarian. So they're kind of giving vegetarian. And if you have like problems with your stomach, you don't want oil, you don't want everything that will operate with oil and all those things. I think they can actually work out. So I don't want to explain a lot of stuff. I just want to get into the video and eat the chips. Let me just put like a, okay, let me just put the whole shandies like this. And let's go.
What would happen if I lost everything? God forbid. God forbid. I bind it in the name of Jesus. In the hour of Spiritus Sancti, yeah? I send that demon away. Here's an interesting thought experiment. Like, one of my team members was like, what would happen if you lost everything? And you had to start again. You lost everything.
The cheese is just popping in my tongue. And they are crunchy. Oh my God. They are amazing, bro. Like, I don't want to lie. The taste is wonderful. My favorite flavor, my favorite flavor is this one. It's the green ones. But I'm going to try them probably tomorrow. But and I don't like this flavor. You see about this one? Hey, this one is something I never really actually ever tried it, but it's actually good. It's actually nice. So to me, when I saw this title, sorry to stop the video.
Venture capital fund, you lost the consulting firm, you lost the board seats, you lost the shares in the different companies and stuff that you've done, you lost the publishing and the publishing rights, all of that stuff, you lost the speaking career, you lost the keynotes, you lost. Like all of these things that fill up your time, gone. And you were starting all over again in South Africa in 2026.
Oh my God.
You do.
Bro, that is a tough one. I don't want to lie.
I think it's an interesting thought experiment, actually. But here's what I can tell you. I wouldn't start another hustle. I certainly wouldn't do another time consulting type of business. And by the way, I wouldn't trade Forex or any of these things. But having run a time-based business in the past, the specific reason we moved out of a time-based business into an investment business was precisely because we realized there is a leverage in getting OPT and OPM, other people's time, other people's money. And in a consulting business, you can get the OPT leverage because you can hire other consultants to work for you. But then really all you're doing is you're arbitraging. You're getting them at $1, you're selling them at $1.20 or $1.50 or $1.60, whatever the case might be. And OPM, other people's money. So you raise capital and you invest it in stuff. You take 2% of the capital you're managing, and you earn 20% of the carried interest. But that's a time game as well. You've got to wait for those underlying portfolio companies to mature.
Stop taking meeting notes and
I'm
let
at
the
edge.
AI note taker do it for you. It allows you to focus on your meetings, not your notes.
So how would I do it? You know, if I look at some of the stuff that we do in our School of Scale, I get to see all kinds of clients. We've got a fashion business, we've got a fashion apparel business, we've got a guy who does fragrances. Great business, great business. He does fragrances. He's in South Africa, he's in Dubai, and he's in Joburg, Dubai, and Los Angeles. Great business. He does fragrance and apparel. We've got a baby hardware business. We've got an agricultural business as a client in Ghana. I've got a publishing business as a client in the US. Let me think. I've got an engineering business in South Africa. We've got a water purification and services business that operates in South Africa, Zambia, and Angola. So we've got like a vast array of clients that we work with in our School of Scale. So I get to see like a lot of these different businesses and what the unit economics looks like. Everything from a logistics client that we have in the northern part of Namibia all the way straight through to a marketing consulting business that we have in Atlanta, Georgia, right? As my daughter would say, Atlanta, Georgia, right? Like we have different clients all over the world. And so the question is, if I had to do it over again, how would I do it? I think that we've been sold a lie, and that lie is on this thing called small business. I hate the idea. I absolutely detest it. And I often said to you guys before, it's okay to start small, just don't stay small. One of my most viral keynotes that I ever did was at the TEDx in Namibia, close on 10 years ago now. And the title of the keynote was the big lie of small business. And I talk about how we have been mentally conditioned to think that all we are worth is these small businesses. And so we think in small business terms. We don't think about how do we take our stock and convert it into a collective investment scheme and then into a cooperative bank. We don't do those things. We tend to stay.
The thing that really caught my eye about this is that I said to myself, like a feeling in my heart that said that, as in, to be quite honest, for judging right now, I was in Pavilion. I was like to myself, and I was doing a video like, Wuti, one of the most biggest company right now, Woolworths, they're selling something that came out from the township, Amagwinya. They're selling them. We enjoy Amagwinya hot, we enjoy Amagwinya Akovi and all those kind of stuff. But now they're selling Amagwinya. What is happening now? I don't know how they produce the guinyas because we love them. We love them hot. But you can actually see what's in it. Amagwinya, they actually placed in a rail which people can actually pick. They're not really hot, like. And I wonder how it tastes. I really wanna taste the products of their products. How did they really came up with this? We're gonna sell Amagwinya, and then we're not gonna stock them in the areas where hot food stay, but they stock them in a rail and they're cold. And how is the quality of the Lolo Gwinya? Because we know this company is one of the most biggest company, and they are famous on just like our product is quality and it's tasty and it's good. So me as a person that stays in the township, I know that among the guineas, they actually has to be hot and they have to be made in a certain way, in a certain, probably in 5 hours or tomorrow, they're not going to taste good. But if you are stocking them and actually placing them in the shelters, you're speaking something else. You're like, is this amaguinya or this is something else, you see? So like those are kind of the questions. And these big companies, they actually taking over in the small things that we're doing. Next thing you know, Lentolena, the thing that is sold, Emarete, I don't know what it's called as, Ingingil or something like that. You will see them there. Like everything they taking over, like it's crazy. Because these are small businesses that we are doing for ourselves. As they are small businesses, and to see these companies taking over our things, it's like, no, man, it's unfair. But at the same time, it's really encouraging, which in whatever that is small, it can actually get distributed in some big companies, some big shops. Like Amagunya now, they're in Woolworths, they're in Ama Garage, they're in garages. If you go checking the drive, you can buy guinya after or putting your petrol in. You can not only buy pie now, you can buy your guinyas and you pull on. You can go inside a mall, you can get a guinya. It's not only in like a rural area of the township. So things are really actually changing, like to be quite honest. It's giving that nothing is actually small. There's nothing that is small. But let me just carry on with the video. Enough for the talking. This chips really tastes very
in
good.
the Stockfell realm. We don't think about how do we take our spaza shop and then turn it into a buying group, and then eventually to become like an independent cash and carry or a spa, right? We don't think like that. We tend to think in spaza shops. So I detest the idea that all we are is the small businesses. So I'm such a big fan of my sister Nomfundo, who built Itabule to the funeral group, right? Because she understood the advantage of scale, and she's built an international business. A lot of people are not aware of this. She doesn't just operate in South Africa, but she actually operates a global business. So if I had to do it over again, what would I do? There are three principles I need to share with you before I help you understand what I would do. The first principle, as I've said to you before, businesses don't compete with businesses. Products don't compete with products. Supply chains don't compete with supply chains. Value chains compete with value chains.
Oh my God. There's no competition here, bro. There is no competition. It's like, man, I'm doing my own things. There's no competition. Oh my God.
So I would focus on a business that would allow me the opportunity to build a strong value chain and utilize that value chain for growth and for scale. That's the first thing I would do. I would also focus on a business that would
Wait.
understood the advantage of scale, and she's built an international business. A lot of people are not aware of this. She doesn't just operate in South Africa, but she actually operates a global business. So if I had to do it over again, what would I do? There are three principles I need to share with you before I help you understand what I would do. The first principle, as I've said to you before, businesses don't compete with businesses. Products don't compete with products. Supply chains don't compete with supply chains. Value chains compete with value chains. So I would focus on a business that would allow me the opportunity to build a strong value chain and to utilize that value chain for growth
I don't know
and
that.
for scale.
I don't know, but I want to know it.
That's the first thing I would do.
I don't know what is a
I
value
would
chain.
also focus on a business that would make me money as I sleep. In other words, where the product is constantly either in utilization or in transaction, whether or not I'm the person selling it. Something that has to do with a strong logistical framework, something that's about moving products, and that's about touching hundreds of people's lives. That's probably what I would do. The other things for you to consider, right? Like right now in 2026, South Africa has this very brief window. The Operation Vulindlela, which the president Cyril Ramaphosa started in 2020, had those 5 key milestones. It was around the transformation of the ports. They've done that. It was around fixing the rail infrastructure in part. They've done that. It was around the financial action treatment, financial action task force thing, which had to do with the grey listing of South Africa. They've done that too. And now, of course, with the Africa Free Trade Agreement, there are all of these like macro factors that would just make it so much easier for me to get into a business that operates in a value chain environment that's about leveraging logistics, selling a product at scale. That's probably something that I would be looking at doing. I would also want to do something that has to do with the middle class, something that is targeting the middle class, and not necessarily the middle class as my direct customers, but perhaps the middle class as the consumers of the people who would be my direct customers. So insofar as the economics forecasting, I tend to be a bit more hawkish. I'm a bit more Davi Ruet on this. I watched an interview of his recently on Sakalitha, and he spoke about how his anticipation is that we'll grow at sub 1% again. He said anything between 0.9 and like 1.1% is he thinks the range. I think he's right. I think that we have a decade of Treasury constantly proving that they overestimate what they think is going to be the growth rate of the country, and then they constantly have to revise it down. So that would be another macro factor that I would consider. But that notwithstanding, the middle class in Africa generally is still resilient, and a number of that middle class is also numb to the volatility, right? Like if you are in Lekki or in Victoria Island, where I was the other day in Nigeria, those people are going to spend what they're going to spend on the products that they need. It really isn't dependent on if you're in Karen in Nairobi, the people who are living in Karen and Nairobi are going to spend what they need to spend to put decent food on the table, send their kids to school, and all of those things. It really doesn't depend on some of the more pressing issues that people in the lower stratas of society would face. So that's definitely something that I would consider.
You see, another thing that I'm actually getting here is that And when you're having a business, you see, the structure of your mind is just has to be different. You see, because at the same time, if you're having a business, you the one of the most limitation that really kills us, that you're thinking that I'm going to sell my products just to people that I know or people around the street or people from around here. You're not in a space of saying, my business actually will grow. My business actually is going to be in Cape Town. My business actually is going to be in Johannesburg. My business is actually going to be, I'm going to have a lot of like stores in South Africa at the same time. But the scale is just like, it's allowing you to actually, it's allow you, when you have a business, you have to allow yourself to be in a scale of, okay, I want to be abroad. Like you have to understand the system. You see, now I get to understand that I don't really know about business. Like Ramaphosa has actually made something what's in it. I wanted to actually operate in business in some certain way. I don't even understand the conversation because I want to have a business, but I don't understand what is really going on in the country. At the same time, I feel like that's something that a person needs to dwell onto. But I think it's much more like learning in business. It's a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of skills of
I already
knowledge.
spoke to you guys about the logistics thing. I've just got some notes here that I've made when I was thinking about this. I already spoke to you guys about the logistics thing. So if you look at Tier 2, right, that's now been, through that partnership with ICT, SI is now operating. There's been a reduction of truck turnaround times, I think from 10 days to 48 hours. All of those are, it's pretty clear that when the government partners with the private sector to allow the private sector the ability to operate public infrastructure, we achieve efficiencies. This is why I believe in the quasi model. I think you don't want the private sector owning these assets, but certainly allowing the private sector to operate these assets is a mega thing that you definitely should be doing. The rail network, for intended purposes, now private operators are moving lithium and manganese throughout the rail network. The arteries of trade are unblocked, and I think that makes a big difference. It makes a major difference because it means the velocity of the economy is picking up. It means things are moving faster. And, at the end of the day, that actually matters. So what would I do? Um, you know,
It's a very tough one, eh?
one of the businesses that we're busy working with now at the school scale is a great business run by a young guy called Man. I don't have the permission to share the company's name. It's based out in Ghana, and they're an agricultural business. And I think that he's happened upon something. In fact, I was looking at the stats the other day. Let me see. Here we go. In sub-Saharan Africa, 37% to 50% of all food produced is lost. It never reaches the plate. 37 to 50% of all food produced is lost. It never reaches the plate. It rots in the fields and it rots in the trucks. It never makes it to the consumer. Half the yield of the farmers doesn't make it to the consumer.
What?
That's a crazy number, right?
As
Crazy
a
number.
person is not actually listening. What this guy is
And
saying.
if you look at
Sorry about this, guys.
50% of all food produced. I was looking at the stats the other day. Let me see. Here we go. In sub-Saharan Africa, 37% to 50% of all food produced is lost. It never reaches the plate.
Wait. Sorry.
Let me see. Here we go. In sub-Saharan
Sorry.
Africa, 37% to 50% of all food produced is lost. It never reaches the plate.
Okay, I heard that.
37 to 50% of all food produced is lost. It never reaches the plate. It rots in the fields and it rots in the trucks. It never makes it to the consumer.
Oh my God.
Half the yield of the farmers doesn't make it to the consumer. That's a crazy number, right? Crazy number. And if you look at that from a TAM perspective, it's about a $4 billion economic opportunity.
Oh my God.
Burnt. Money we'll never get back. And all just because we don't have strong cold chains.
Why waste another summer not loving your body?
With Baseball Fall, you turn that question into a successful business.
A woman has an average of 80 summers in her life. Our brand is
Hey man, this thing is annoying me, man.
We want
Alves,
women
yo.
to feel secure in their own.
I need to pay a lot. It's expensive to pay.
I was in Akure in Ondo State in Nigeria, this time last year, actually. And
4 billion.
I was speaking at a conference there, and there's a massive ShopRite store in Akure in Ondo State. I was speaking at the Global Entrepreneurship Forum platform. So anyway, I head over to the ShopRite. Was there? I set up my security, taken to the ShopRite. Because anytime I'm traveling the world, when I see South African businesses, I love visiting them just to see how they're operating. So I went into the store and I was talking to one or two of the people, and I think they were like, "Why is this guy probing so much and asking so many questions?" Because I was asking like, "So what's your retail mix? What's your product mix? What's your merchandising? How do you price? How do you do production? How do you manage the cold chain, supply chain for your shop, right? Like, if the largest part of your goods that you're trading and selling are coming from South Africa, how do you get them into Nigeria at scale consistently and not break that supply chain?" And I think that's in large part one of the reasons why they might have made that decision to pull out of that business. But a lot of those supply chains across the continent run on diesel, and a lot of those, in particular the cold chain, a lot of those cold chains run on diesel, and a number of the small farmers simply can't afford the diesel to operate a strong, robust cold chain. So the question you ask is, what would I do?
It's a hard one, eh?
I would build, hey, here's a good one, cold storage as a service. Let me explain. So, cool it as a service. Like, you take solar efficiency, which by the way has skyrocketed now. One of my good friends, Hein, operates in the space. We had him on an episode of Ideas That Matter, runs Harold's Group. I think they're the largest in the continent doing this as an independent company. And when I was looking at the unit economics of solar technology, when he was sharing it with me, these numbers are crazy now. They're like crazy cheap. It's crazy cheap, the cost per kilowatt hour on solar now. So what I would do is I would get containerized refrigeration facilities that use hybrid power. So you have a portion grid, a portion solar, with a portion inverter, so some sort of storage battery facility. And then I would say to the farmers or the agricultural producers from around the area, when you've produced a product, you can simply bring it to my cooling facilities and I will keep it here for you because I can extend the shelf life. That's what
That's very
it's a
innovative.
great business. It services the middle class. It answers a real problem that exists. It's infinitely scalable, and you can take it into about 80% of the continent with strong support. And any of you who are watching this, if you go and do this, I want my 10%.
Oh my God, he's saying exactly what I always think about. If I have an idea and I talk it out loud, and like, I want my 10% or 20%.
You come and take my ideas, and then you don't pay me. Business like that is it's
Oh my
it's a
God.
product-led business. It's not a service-led business. I'm not selling time. Because I'm answering a problem that is a large-scale problem, it means I've got infinite opportunity for upside growth and momentum. Because I'm answering a product that is also a problem that is happening in situ, it means I have the opportunity to develop really, really strong distribution networks. And because it's in an ecosystem that already exists, there are already producers, there are farmers, and there are consumers, it means I'm simply plugging into an ecosystem that already exists, and I would be making just so much more impact. So much more impact. So when you think about value, you've really got to understand what that actually means. And in my mind, value means the thing that you do that for you costs $1, but for the person receiving it makes $2 worth of impact. That additional dollar between what it costs you and what the impact they get, that's the value that you've created in society. That's what I would do if I was starting my life all over again in 2026. Notice this said nothing about TikTok, Shorts, nothing about social media, nothing about that stuff, because I think uniquely for where Africa is and the challenges that we've got, it really is for us about how do we answer questions on the base root, at the grassroots, and making difference for people and people's lives. Tell me what you would do if you were starting a business in 2026. Hit subscribe, like, share, comment. Cheers.
Oh my God, that was very nice. It was very into.
Do you wish you had all the AI tools you needed?
It was very beautiful, man. It was a very beautiful, and these chips were very nice. I don't want to lie. and it was just like very tasty and everything. Like the video was, I had a great time. I think, you know, I don't know what I would do. Like I don't understand business that much, but I really appreciate everything that I'm actually listening to now. And I see the reason why people are taking classes. They go and they're paying, I'm a master class, they're paying their money to actually understand wisdom, because not a lot of people have a lot of information. I feel like it's just so nice if you have money and you know people in the country that are really successful in business. You actually go there and actually grab an ear and listen what they're actually saying about business. It's so nice. I'm having a great time. I was laughing, and advertising these chips. They're not even gonna pay me. I'm telling people this is the best chips in the game. They're not even pay me or something, but all those things. Thank you for watching, guys. I wish I had that thing that comes up here and say subscribe, like, comments on this video, or go and watch these videos again or something like that. Oh, bye. Thank you so much.